Hi, welcome back. This is Aging Joyfully. My name is Sheila and I am here in my salon studio, but in a different room. This has this beautiful bay window and I have made this cozy little nook to spend some time in. And we are going to jump right in to getting things done on our 4 quadrants. So like I said in my last video, the funnest, biggest, most encompassing quadrant is knowledge. And that it's just so fun. It's never ending. And I want to start today with something really simple, really obvious, really easy, really not secret, something that we all know and probably already do, but we're going to make it even more fun. That is reading books. So I personally love reading books. But if you're like me and you're busy, or you've grown up busy and now maybe you're slowing down, there maybe wasn't a lot of time for reading, and maybe now there's a little bit more time for reading. I am busy, but I make time for reading because it's one of my greatest joys. I love it so much. And there's lots and lots of different ways that we can read books. We can read them obviously with just a book in our hand. We can read them off a device like our Kindle. We can listen to them on an audiobook. So many ways, depending on whichever is best for you, because we all have different circumstances and it's going to be different for everybody. I personally, I love an audiobook if I'm on a trip and I'm driving. Nothing better, nothing makes the time go by faster than a fantastic audiobook. But on the day-to-day, I'm doing hair and I have clients. I can't be listening to an audiobook while I'm working. Some of you can clean house and listen to an audiobook while you're working, but I just can't. And this is just me. They speak too slowly while they're narrating. I read faster. I read fast. I want to get to the point. Oh. So anyway, but it's a fantastic. My oldest daughter, just all she does is listen to audiobooks. She loves them. So many different ways to actually read a book and get a book in your hand. And I love also the idea of Kindle, where you can have 1,000 books on one little device. Genius for sure. But then again, I like a book in my hand. So I tend to lean towards books, and I try to put my device down at night. I find that if I have it in another room when I go to bed and I turn it off about 9 and I wind down with a good book, I sleep better. And that's just kind of a scientific fact that we do sleep better if we get off our devices. So that's my goal, is to do a little less device. But when you're on devices, let's do something fun. Let's be fun. Let's be experimental. Let's do something new. Come and join me if you're on your device. Okay. Secondly, I want to talk about all the different genres of books. Now, when I looked into this, it was almost a little overwhelming. And I'll show you why in just a sec. I'm going to read you this list. And there's subcategories to each category. To each genre, there's a subgenre. Many subgenres. So, buckle in. We are going to dig into this list. It's kind of crazy. But here we go. Are you ready? Okay. Fantasy, historical fiction, romance, science fiction, horror, mystery, thriller, just plain fiction, literary fiction, biography, adventure fiction, nonfiction, poetry, magical realism, Western fiction, dystopian, memoirs, science fantasy, history, children's lit, autobiography, psychology, self-help, and fantasy. Whoosh, whoosh. I survived that list. There are so many, and then there's so many subcategories in each one of those categories. But let's not make it hard. I'm gonna ease you into this and show you some books that I have that fit some of these categories and how we can let it not be overwhelming and just be fun. We just need it to be fun. So let's get started. I have some books. And I'm just going to go down the list. And what I did was I Googled, what genre is Daughter of the Moon Goddess? Pops right up. Okay, you just Google any book you want. You can look into anything you want and find out what genre it is. It'll even have questions that you can say, yeah, what's the question out? Yeah, what's this book about? Yeah, how many stars do you give it? Yeah, right? So Googling any book is really easy. But with this one, I just got it. It was very, very highly recommended by lots of people. It is by Sue Lynn Tan. And I have been so excited to read this book. So I finally ordered it on Amazon, just got it the other day. Have not read it yet. You'll see why. I have a handful of books I've not read yet, but I'm going to. And look how pretty it is. So this book genre is, when I Googled it, it said fantasy fiction, historical fiction. No, I'm reading the wrong one, sorry. YA fiction. Do you know what YA is? Anybody? Anybody? YA means young adult, and I love me some young adult fiction, okay? Love it to me. It says fantasy fiction, high fantasy, and fairy tales. Yeah, that's me all day. That's like my love language. I love every single word that I just said. So I know I'm going to love this. Many people gave it 5 stars. Other people said they didn't quite get into it, but I know I'm going to love it. And I love to know what those genres are. And I'm like, yeah, that's my genre. I'm going to enjoy that. And it came highly recommended by many, many people. So did you know on here on YouTube, there's a thing called Booktube where people just read books all day and come on and give you cute, wonderful videos. Now, some do other things besides just reading books all day, but a big part of their job is to read books. Lots and lots of books. They just have bookshelves full of beautiful books. It does sound really fun on one hand, but we need to be well-rounded in all of our quadrants, so we got to be social too. We can't just sit and read books all day, even though it's tempting. Anyway, I will link you a couple of my booktubers that I really like to listen to. They're soothing. I like their voices. I like their attitudes. I like the way they speak. So many good things, and there's so many people to choose from. So I will link a couple of my favorites below, and you can do the rest. Check out some of these other wonderful people. Okay, let's go on to my next book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Now, V.E. Schwab has recently become an author that I think I'm going to love. I don't know if you can see these books back here. That's a trilogy by V.E. Schwab that I absolutely loved. And so now I've bought another duology from her and this. And this was a New York Times #1 bestseller. Highly, highly recommended by many, many people. And I couldn't wait to get my hands on this. And I didn't buy it right off, but I finally just said, yes, I love her as an author. I want to read this. This is another one that a lot of people gave 5 stars, and some people just didn't get into it. But it is labeled fantasy fiction, historical fiction, and historical fantasy. I think I'm going to love this one too. But I already know I love V.E. Schwab's writing. Beautiful, beautiful language, beautiful way of writing. I really enjoy reading her stuff. So I know I'm going to enjoy this, and there's your genres for that. These 2 genres are considered historical fiction because they are really based on historical facts. There's some key people. They use the same names, use the same times, use a lot of the same things. And this is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. And then the other one is Hunting Prince Dracula as well. And there's several more of these. My daughter got these. She's loved them. I have not read them. But here you go. Some really good historical fiction. My next one, now this is a really trendy book nowadays. This is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And it's very trendy. You know, it's all the popular new books coming out. And it was on my list because it just comes up when you Google it, YA fantasy. Again, I'm all about the YA fantasy. So I know I'm going to love this. And one of my sweet friends, Beverly, gave this to me. I'm probably borrowing this to me. I will read it and get it back to her. But I'm excited for this one. It is popular. It is trendy. and I'm going to read this. But this is just pure YA fantasy. These, I'm going to do a whole video on these just because I can. They are my favorite series of all time, my favorite books of all time. My youngest daughter, who's 21, has read all of these. There's about 15 of them, and a new one comes out next month. So very, very excited. But these pull up. Get ready for this. So this is Mercy Thompson. It's the Mercy Thompson series, Mercy Thompson novel by Patricia Briggs. I have all of them. They're all beautiful. Mercy is an amazing heroine. She is in a world with vampires, fae, and werewolves. And she gets to navigate through all of that, and she's not one of them. So, but she's just this fantastic heroine, and I love her. Well, these books are technically genred as urban fantasy, paranormal fiction, supernatural fiction, and contemporary fantasy. So there's so many genres when this pulls up. And yes, I say yes, 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 and yes to all of those things. These are so, so, so fun. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Okay, then this is something that I just bought. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This, when I Googled it, it is a dystopian novel with fiction. And I don't usually like dystopian. Dystopian means futuristic, not good. So it's just bad. It's all the way around just bad. And I don't like thinking that the future is going to be bad. So they're usually not my favorite genre, but this came highly, highly recommended. And I'm super excited to read this. And I'll be letting you know my thoughts on this. I'm hoping to get all your guys' thoughts on what you're reading. I hope that you recommend books to each other and books to me and tell us what genre they're in when you comment. Like, tell us what book you read, what genre it is, and if you liked it and how many stars, kind of thing. Let us know. That's my goal here, is we can all love on each other a little bit. Okay, this next one I'm really excited about as well. This is called The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And this came highly recommended, and it is a mystery. It's a fictional mystery, and I think we should all read a good mystery now and then. This was recommended as similar to Knives Out, the movie. I'm sure it was a book first, but a movie that came out like a year or 2 ago, and I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. But I loved it, and so, of course, I'm excited to see what this book has to offer as well in that same genre. This book, I got it at a thrift store, and it's by Greg Iles, and it's called Mississippi Blood. This, when I Googled him, it said he has written 20 mysteries. So these are just flat out mysteries. And I haven't read this yet, because as I got this at a thrift store for 75 cents, and as I went through and like Googled it and looked up what it's about, it's got this whole book list of books you should read first. So this one won't be getting read for a while, but I'm excited to read it. It has really, really good reviews. I think it's a lot of pages, and I think smaller writing type font, and it just goes into lots of details. And so I'm going to give that a read someday when I've read all the other ones. Okay, so what was some of the other genres? Now, some genres we didn't touch base on. There is a difference between horror and thriller. So when I Googled that, thriller is more like keep you in suspense thriller. Horror genre is more like gruesome, gory death. Okay, horror, thriller, they're different. Then we talked about the dystopian. There's poetry, which I think we understand what poetry is. Autobiography, biography, I think we know what those are as well. And historic books, historic novels. This one, if you have not read this whole series, again, I highly recommend. We've got J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. I can't say enough. I think any person who has gotten into any type of fantasy books can't say enough. She's an amazing author who tells an amazing story. And this plot is just so much between good and evil and who's going to win in the end. And what price do you pay to win, whether you're good or you're evil? Such a good series. I have the original series. There's 2 of these books only that are out right now, and they have beautiful illustrations, and they actually have some pop-outs that you can move. Absolutely stunning. So we got the first and second one of these. That's all they have. And then this came out first, and these were like coffee table Harry Potter books. They are so big and heavy with, again, beautiful illustrations. And they're all illustrated. This is different person, and those are a different person. So 2 different illustrators giving us these beautiful pictures. So if you ever have any hesitation about Harry Potter, you know, in my heart, I would say don't have any hesitation. Best books. She's an amazing author. And I love the genre, and I love the story. And this genre was adventure fiction, an adventure fantasy. And I thought, yeah, that makes sense. Harry goes on some fun adventures. So there you go, adventure fantasy. Then there was self-help books, right? This is a food book. I hate to say diet book, but a food book called The Plant Paradox by Dr. Stephen R. Gundry. Again, highly recommend. I've been trying to lose weight. I have mostly just feel better. And I think losing weight is just a side effect of eating better, so you feel better and then you lose some weight. And I do follow a lot of his tips in here. He makes some good scientific facts, and so I've been doing some of his stuff while doing like clean keto. And then children's literature. Oh, here's a couple more. Just friends gave this to me. Make It Happen, Write It Down, Make It Happen by Henrietta Ann Clauser. And then Goals by Gary Ryan Blake. And both of those have been really fun to just go over there. Neither of them are very big. And as I'm doing this channel and as I'm hoping to present fun, good anti-aging ideas and things to you, it was good. It was good information. Write some stuff down. Make some goals. I loved it. And then last but not least for books I had was children's lit. My daughter's having her first baby. It's a little boy. And I've gotten these for him because he's going to have books. And I hope I hope he has the love of books that me and his mother have. I remember reading out loud to my girls through high school. One daughter liked it a little more than the other daughter, but we still did it, and it was so, so joyful. And it stuck with me, and we have to teach our kids and grandkids so it sticks with them. It's the best way. Reading is the best way to give people a good vocabulary, knowledge, joy in discovering a different land and a different people and a different language. Like, so fun. I love me some fantasy. There is romance on that list. I just don't read romance books. I know what they are. And there's a big scale of romance, okay? There is like a little kiss and a hug and some feelings, and then there's full on, everything you could possibly imagine sexually. There's a big range that they call romance, okay? And to each their own. I prefer this closed door. Technically, it's closed door romance where it's happening, but you're not in the room with them. And then there's open door romance where you get every single detail. And I like this end of a little bit of romance if I'm going to have that in my books. So you decide, but that is a whole genre by itself, romance. You can find a million romance books and a million romance authors. But that's all we're going to talk about with genres. My goal, though, and my challenge for you is that you pick a new genre and stretch yourself a little bit and try a new book. Some of my clients and some people I've talked to have been like, oh, I can't really afford books. What do I do? How do we get our hands on books? And that's, that is something to think about. I don't have unlimited funds to just go spend on books. As I watch some of these booktubers, they just have bookshelves of beautiful, all the books. It's beautiful. I do not have that. And I probably won't have that for a long time because I borrow books from people. Like The Cruel Prince is something that I borrowed from a friend. I'll be giving that back. Unless I absolutely love it, then maybe I'll buy it. and then the library. And then if you throw out there to neighbors, friends, social media that you are loving books and that you are hoping to collect more books and that you are wanting more books, people will give you books sometimes. That is a fact. I've had people just say, oh my heck, a little mouse told me that you love books. I'm cleaning off my bookshelves. Would you like these? And it's like, yes, of course. And you get a bunch of books. So just kind of throw it out there sometimes that you're looking for books. It may not be your genre, but maybe read a few of them and see if it's something that you could like. And if not, then you pass them on and you share them with the next person. Share, 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 share. That is what makes life fun. Share, share, share. We don't have to just purchase them all, and we can just spend some fun time reading, trying out new things. Another way is obviously the library, which I have not done yet. I just haven't done that yet. I have a few books here to read. I don't even know which one I want to read first. I kind of want to read this one first. But then the Moon Goddess one and the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Oh my goodness, just all of them. So I don't need to go to the library right now, but there is an app for audiobooks that you can connect with your library. I think it's called Libby. I'm working on connecting with that and seeing how that works. And then you can rent audiobooks from the library, and then you can rent them through this app Libby, where they're just sent right to your phone. You can obviously go to the library, reserve some books, which I have not done, but I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to go see too if they have like authors that I love and books that I want that are on my TBR list. So library, free. And then, so we have free at the library, really cheap at thrift stores. Like my Greg Iles one was 75 cents at the thrift store, and I've gotten some for 50 cents, $1. You can get some really good books for really, really cheap. And then one last outlet that I just learned about yesterday. I was watching a booktuber, and she, bless her, she was probably my age, so a little older, a little wiser, right? We're not children. She had scads of books. Piles, stacks, bookshelves down the hall, books galore. And she hadn't read most of them, I think, or at least half of them. And she's just like, oh my heck, I got this, and I've got this, and this sounded good, so I got these two. And she just had books. And I picked up a couple recommendations from her, but the biggest thing she said is like, I got this one off of, what's it called? I wrote it down. Oh, Book Outlet. I was like, I just drew a blank. Bookoutlet.com. So bookoutlet.com, you can get discounted books. I got, yesterday, they aren't here yet. I just ordered them yesterday. But I got 11 books for $39. And they were all something that I wanted. I got one more child's book. I got it's a classic. It's like Peter the Rabbit. I got that for my baby coming. A couple of series that are fantasy series that I did want. A couple other books that maybe I didn't know what they were, but I read their synopsis and then I Googled them to see what kind of author they were. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to read that. It's a thriller mystery. Some great books. Not one thing that was like, I don't know. Thousands and thousands to choose from. Bookoutlet.com. You might get addicted because now I'm semi-addicted. But I kind of went through all this stuff that looked good to me. And I'll try again another day, maybe in a couple more weeks, and see if there's a couple I wanted that they didn't have, and I'll see if they end up having them. So touch base with Book Outlet while you're just sitting on your device. Amazon, Book Outlet, libraries, friends, thrift stores, sharing, so many ways to read books and get books. And then audiobooks or reading books or Kindle books. Paperback, hard copy books or Kindle books. Many ways to read, many ways to expand on knowledge. Learn something new, read a new genre, get a new hero, get a new crush. That's one of the questions, like, who's your newest fantasy crush? I think that's so cute. I don't have a crush yet. Yes, I do. Lied. The heroine and the hero, mostly in these books, my favorite. Highly recommend. Patricia Briggs, Mercy Thompson, if you missed it the first time. Highly recommend. Anyway, there you go. Books, book options. I challenge you all to try a new genre and get yourself a couple of new books. And we're going to report back. And then I'm going to work on a book challenge where we're going to read books together, for real. Maybe a little book club type thing. We're going to do a lot, and then we're going to have some, like I said, some challenges. I've got some fun ideas. So get your reading on, get your wheels spinning, get that brain going, read some fun books. I will be back.